Okay, hi everybody. My name's Regine. I'm one of the dietitians here at the Cancer Center, and I'm going to be doing this presentation, Life After Cancer Education series that we're doing with Renew. Um, just wanted to let you know that some housekeeping, just like Shannon mentioned, please make sure that your microphone is on mute. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the chat or email your questions at this email. And then at the end, or ask the questions that you have at the end on the camera if you're comfortable. And then, like Shannon said, she'll be emailing you the slides. So this is just a quick overview of what we're going to be talking about, healthy eating and why it matters. Oh, I forgot to finish that. Healthy eating with your weight, fruits and vegetable, healthy proteins, whole grains, functional foods, and kind of putting it all together. And we'll just be talking quickly about alcohol, healthy weight, and sugars, and we'll talk about supplements, growth hormones, antibiotics, and special diet. So, eating well. Why does eating well matter? So, it promotes optimal health, improves your well-being, reduces your risk of disease, promotes longevity, builds and maintains strong immune system. So, not only does this really help you eating well, help you live longer, but better and healthier, which we all want to live a healthy life. So, eating well helps you achieve your best health, and we limit the foods that do not promote good health. So, um, as you can see on this plate, the biggest thing that's going to help make sure we're eating well is fruits and vegetables, including fruits and vegetables in our diet daily. Eating whole grains, trying to increase our fiber and healthy proteins. Um, Choosing healthy proteins that don't increase your chance of that don't increase your cancer risk. Selecting whole grains have been proven, with the fiber have been proven to decrease your cancer risk, and limiting our processed foods and our convenience foods and sugar and alcohol are going to be the biggest things that really help with eating well. So, like I mentioned, fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables are going to give you so much other things than healthy fiber. They're going to give you vitamins, minerals that are not found in other foods, and having these or having plenty of fruits and vegetables are going to be the most important thing that you can do for your health and overall decreasing your chance of getting cancer. They also support many systems in our bodies and help energy metabolism and your immune function to protect you from disease. And all these fruits and vegetables, like I mentioned before, help in your fiber intake. So, what is a serving of fruit and vegetable? So, 1 cup of raw vegetables. So, like a cup of lettuce or a cup of spinach, which you may think is a lot, but it's really not a lot because, like the salad or the spinach has that you don't. It doesn't need a lot for it to be a cup. Shannon, I'm not sure if you know, there's people waiting in the waiting room. Sorry. Half a cup of cooked vegetables would also be 1 serving of vegetables, 1 cup of fruit, a medium piece of fruit, like, you know, a large banana or a medium-sized apple, and you're really trying to aim for 7 to 10 servings per day, which may seem like it's a lot, but if you're having one banana in the morning, you have a large salad, which would be, 2 cups of lettuce or 2 cups of spinach and 1 cup of steamed vegetables for your dinner. That's the minimum servings of 5 vegetables. We're trying to aim for 7 to 10, but our minimum is 5. And 40% of Canadians never eat a single fruit a day. Just some facts letting you know. And 20% of Canadians never eat vegetables a day. So it's so important for you to eat fruits and vegetables. And I get a lot of questions asked, like, what about fresh versus frozen? Most of the time when fruits and vegetables are frozen here, they're flash frozen they get right as soon as they're picked, they're washed and they're frozen. So it's such a great way to get lots of fruit throughout the whole a year, so that you get lots of fruits and vegetables in your diet. So eating lots of fruits and vegetables may help protect against these types of cancer. So your mouth, your laryngeal, thyroid, your lungs, esophageal, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, your stomach, your cervical, and I'll get into a little bit later with fiber, is also going to be your colon. Going to help kind of reduce your decrease your chance of getting these types of cancer. So guidelines to including your fruits and vegetable are, try different types of fruits and vegetables. Try to have a lot of variety of colors, tastes, and textures. Um, Trying to add a little bit to each meal or snack. So about the color, going for color, it has a lot of powerful antioxidants, and nutrients are found in color pigments. So the richer the color, the better it is for you. So really, I'm trying to get a variety of color, not just green, not just yellow, but you really want to do the red, you want to do the orange, trying to get as much variety as possible. And really trying to fill half your plate with fruits or vegetables would be the best. Some easy things that you could do is try to keep a bowl of fresh fruit on your counter, and it could be like pears, peaches, nectarine. These all are going to be in season. So apples, which are easy to grab, that don't require as much effort as cutting an orange or trying to de-seed a pomegranate. So or having clementines or grapes. These would be easy to go to snacks and meals that will help increase your fruit and vegetable intake. Healthy proteins. So important. Protein is so important for tissue healing and repair. It helps build new cells in your body and maintains a healthy immune system. Um, Usually when we're talking to our clients, our patients about protein, we really, really push protein. I know this is about after cancer, but really as adults start to get older, they start to um, use their muscle as energy, and muscle mass is going to help with longevity. So the more muscle mass you have, the better long term, and you really need to eat a high protein diet to ensure that you maintain your muscle mass. Um, most people who have had cancer are not getting enough protein in their diet, and protein foods have essential nutrients in them that are not found in everything. It's like iron, zinc, vitamin B12, which are needed for your daily function of your body. So some excellent sources of healthy protein is fish and seafood. poultry, red meats like beef, pork, veal, and lamb, which I'll go on in more detail about the red meats, dairy products like milk, cheese, yogurt, legumes, nuts and seed, and eggs. Eggs are the most excellent source of protein because they are a complete protein, which means that they have the 8 amino acids that are not found in other foods. So it's really, really important to try to get those, to try to get some eggs in. And your fish and seafood will also provide you omega-3s, which are really important for your overall health, and really help with your immune function. Um, Poultry, like, sorry, I should have mentioned chicken and turkey. And when I mean legumes, I mean beans, peas, lentils, and chickpeas. So what is one serving equal to? So an animal meat, so that would be your fish, your chicken, your beef, would be 85 grams or 3 ounces. Cheese is 1 ounce, and your beans and legumes are going to be half a cup, and nuts and seed is going to be a quarter of a cup. So the Cancer Society really recommends that you eat 3 ounces or 85 grams of meat when you're cooking a meat. So, not an 8 or 10 ounce steak, but 3 ounces, which is not actually as much as if you ate an 8 ounce steak. Um, some ways to kind of gauge it is like the deck of cards that I've put there, or the palm of your hand. And I know sometimes the men are much taller and have larger hands, so their palm is much bigger than 3 ounces. So the cheese is only an ounce. It's very, very small. I'm not sure if you can see this with the light that's coming in, but it's a very small amount, which is would be 1 serving of cheese. So some guidelines for a healthy protein is trying to stick to that 3 ounce portion size. Also, really recommend trying to do a one meatless meal at least once a week, and trying to choose legumes and pulses, and aiming for one fish meal that is at least once a week that's not breaded or battered would be the better option. And including nuts and seeds more often. This will really be helpful um, for snack time. So the meatless meals would be something like chili, like a bean chili, or bean burritos, picking lentils, peas, kidney beans, and chickpeas. And I cannot emphasize how much the nuts and seeds bring so much nutrients into your body versus not having them. And I would include walnuts, almonds, and pistachios are my main go-to. Cashews are also delicious, but I find that they're higher in fat and not as much protein. So just be mindful of that. And really trying to limit your red meats to maximum 2 times a week. And I will talk a little bit further about why that is. So consuming red meats may increase your risk for colorectal, prostate, and pancreatic cancer. So high intake of red meats have shown evidence to associate with increased risk of these cancers, and we're recommending, 3 servings per week. So, more than if you're gonna have a red meat, having it 2 to 3 times in a week would be uh, a a maximum option. Um, and a red meat, pork counts as red meat. So pork, beef, lamb, veal, goat, what you want to try to keep to that deck of cards. Processed meats like ham, that sausage or hot dog, bacon, salami, are processed meats. These processed meats are preserved by smoking, curing, or salting, or by adding preservatives. And when meat is preserved this way, it can increase um, it causes substances can be formed which increases your cancer risk in your specifically your colon or your colorectal cancer. So again, red meat, you just want to stick to a deck of cards. So, like I said before, not an 8 to 10 ounce piece of steak. It's just a 3 ounce piece of steak, if that's the red meat of your choice. So, in Canada, we eat a lot of meat. So a lot of red meat, a lot of processed meats. So just this is just to talk about um there isn't like really a specific amount of protein that's required for everyone. Everyone's going to be different because everyone's weight is different. We usually follow a 0.8 gram per kilogram per day. Um, and that's just because we don't really want to have too much, but we want to make sure we're having enough. Now, if you are getting treatment, it's very different because we have you on a much higher recommendation. But this is, ensuring that you are healthy and that you're getting enough protein in your diet. So, like I had mentioned, those processed meats like the ham, bacon, salami, hot dog, sausage, lunch meats. So, eating 50 grams per day or 2 ounces per day increases your colorectal cancer by 20% due to the nitrates and preservatives. So, just really being mindful of the type of protein you're getting. So, you know, if you're having like deli meats just being or those lunch meats, 3 to 4 slices would be around 50 grams. So if you're putting that and if you're having that on your sandwich for lunch every day, you've had more than you've increased your chance of getting colorectal cancer by 20% each time. So it's really, you really have to be mindful of um, these processed meats that you're eating. And, the reason we eat so much of them is because they're convenient foods. So the uh, our eating habits are things that we're really going to need to change, and meal planning ahead of thinking ahead to meal plan ahead so that you're not going to these convenient foods. And if you have an appointment, I'd rather you eat something. So if you eat a sandwich, it's fine. It's just having these foods every day is really harmful to your body. So, carcinogenic substance. So, these are what happens when you cook your meat at high temperatures. And the HCAs, is what happens when animal meat gets heated up at a high heat, at a high temperature. So, there's lots of flame. It really increases um, your cancer risk. And the PAHs are like the burning of the fat matter when the smoke is produced. So the smoke adheres to the like sticks to the surface of the meat, which increases your chance of cancer. So you really have to be mindful when you're barbecuing, and we're going into barbecue season right now. So just being really mindful of that. So some things you can really do when you're barbecuing is barbecue low and slow and flip often. I know we're going into barbecue season. I will also be barbecuing, but just being really mindful of the temperature you're cooking it at. Um, trying other things like braising, roasting. These things will all help to decrease your chance of your cancer risk. What else can you do? Like I said, we're going into grilling season, so you just want to be really mindful of things. You can marinate, reduce the portion of the amount of meat you're having, lower the temperature, flip often, use other meats like fish and shellfish, and fruits and vegetables. Barbecuing fruits and vegetables tastes delicious, and if they get burnt, it's okay because it's the protein foods that increase when they get burnt that increases your chance of cancer, not the fruits and vegetables. When I say marinating, I just wanted to say that using strong acid like lemon juice or balsamic vinegar really helps break down the protein so that it cooks faster. Um, and like cooking at a low temperature and flipping often are going to be really to help reduce the burning effect and the smoke. Plant-based foods do not form cancer-causing substances. So you could grill the vegetable, like this is a portobello mushroom. Um, you could also do black bean burgers, roast your vegetables, and there's another product out there. It's called Beyond Meat that is a plant-based burgers that I've seen that taste really good as well to try. There's other things out there. You just have to look for them and be mindful of where they are and what options that you have. Whole grain. So, whole grains and fiber are going to be things that we're coming into. So, whole grain foods are really whole include whole grain foods is associated with lowering your risk of severe disease. So, it's more than just fiber. There's strong evidence that shows that um, eating whole grain really decreases your cancer risk. Um, and they provide a cancer protective compound like phytochemicals that will decrease your chance of cancer. So it's really good to also another reason to really include whole grains are going to be ways to decrease your weight. We'll talk about weight later, but it helps maintain your ideal body weight. And they also, like I mentioned, contain other nutrients that are going to be important for your body. So the B vitamins, copper, selenium, zinc, antioxidants, um, magnesium, phosphorus, dietary fiber are going to be all the things that are going to help with the things that whole grains are going to help with. So whole grains means the germ, the bran, and the endosperm. So as you can see in this picture, the bran is the outside, the endosperm is in the middle, and the germ is the smallest amount. So refined grains remove the germ and the bran, and it just has the endosperm. So that would be like white bread. You really want to try to choose whole grain because it includes all these three items. Yeah, like white flour, white rice, remove the germ and the bran, which has a lot of other nutrients that go part of it. So you're missing out on those nutrients and the fiber aspect of it. So there are different types of whole grains. So whole wheat, bulgur, oatmeal, quinoa, brown rice, ancient grains, barley. So when we say whole grain, like I said, we saw in that picture, it's the bran, the endosperm, and the germ. So in whole wheat, that's you want the whole part of the wheat bran to be included into um, your flour. Bulgur has, you know, a wheat component, a germ component of it as well. So, or you could buy cracked wheat. I'm sure people have seen that. But the brown rice, they have those other components to it, and those fiber components have not been stripped away, which you would get in white rice, in white bread, in white flour. Here's some different types of ancient grains to include. Um, Personally, I have not tried all of these. Um, I definitely have tried teff, which is that bottom part, quinoa, oats, farro, or bulgur, um, I've had. These are great options to kind of try something different. Maybe some of you are seeing these names for the first time. It's just good to get different what different people use in different cultures that they use as part of their grains. So some guidelines for the whole grains would be to read the label, reading labels for 100% whole grain. So when you're reading the ingredients, you want it to say whole wheat, brown rice, whole oats, bulgur, whole rye. And um, there's I always look at the ingredient list because the first 3 to 5 ingredients are are what is mostly in that product. So if it says white flour, that's going to have as the first ingredient, it's going to have the most amount, it's going to be white flour. So just really being mindful of looking for the ingredient list. So choosing 100% whole grains, like I mentioned before, you want the bran, the endosperm, and the germ. And you're really looking for it in reading the labels, and you're not just the nutrition facts, but you're looking at the ingredients. So refined grains are missing one or more parts of the grain, and they lack some of the nutrients that are found in the whole grain. So as you can see in these examples, you're looking for whole wheat flour versus enriched flour bleached. So that's not a whole grain food. Well, the first one on your left-hand side was a whole grain food, a whole grain food. So it has whole wheat flour as the first ingredient. So these items do not necessarily mean that it's 100% whole grain, which is the tricky part that I find these food companies use to kind of get you to buy their product. So they'll say multi-grain. It does not mean it's 100% whole grain. Stone ground, 100% whole wheat. 7 grain, cracked wheat does not mean it has the whole grain. So back to this product, you want it to say whole wheat flour. And that your bread would be a whole grain. Trying some guidelines is making half or more of your grains whole grain. So choosing whole grain bread, um, reading your labels, trying a new grain every week really kind of helps get a variety of whole grains in your diet. Choosing brown rice over white rice, or you could buy whole grain rice. Having like 100% whole grain rye, um, using bulgur or barley in your soups or stews, or adding it as a side dish, adding quinoa into your salad, are other kind of great ways to really try to increase your whole grain foods. I'll talk about fiber. Excuse me. So, uh, whole grain fiber is gonna be what's going to keep your bowels moving. I've written at the bottom, the road to health is paved with good intestines. Making sure you're having a bowel movement every day or every other day, and unless your bowels are slow to begin with and you're having bowel movements every 3 days, or some people every 3 to 5 days is their normal, but really good healthy bowels is every day or every other day. Fiber helps with healthy digestion, really reduces your cancer risk and disease, and Health Canada recommends 25 to 38 grams of fiber per day. One thing, and most of us really only get 15 to 20 grams per day, so we're not even at times getting half. Um, thing I would say about fiber is it really goes hand in hand with water. If you have a really high fiber diet, but you're not really drinking enough water, you may feel like you're constipated. So they really go hand in hand. So if you're gonna have a high fiber diet, you also want to drink lots of water or fluids. So what are some sources of fiber? There are things that we've just been talking about. So whole grains, fruits and vegetables. I find berries have the most amount of fiber, raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, nuts and seeds, your pulses and your legumes. So all your beans, peas, and lentils have a lot of fiber. They'll have they'll help to prevent constipation, help your lower your blood cholesterol, help control your blood sugar, make you feel fuller longer to help manage your weight. Um, and you always want to add fiber slowly into your diet if you are not someone that has a lot of fiber in their diet. Adding too much fiber at once can cause the gas, the bloating, the constipation. And like I had said earlier, you really need to include water when you're having a high fiber diet. Between 8 to 10 cups or 2 to 2.5 liters of water per day will help your body use the fiber and help the food get digested and passed into your intestines, and you'll have a healthy bowel movement. Um, there's some products there that we've talked about, like avocados, eating the pear with the skin. Popcorn is a great source of fiber, dried fruit, nuts and seeds, lots of vegetables. And like I mentioned, berries have the highest amount of fiber, so trying to really include that. And like I said earlier, eating lots of fiber and whole grains really protects you from colorectal cancer. It's been proven that if you have a high fiber diet, it really decreases your chance of getting colorectal cancer. So, again, like I said, trying to really increase your fiber intake is going to help lead for a healthier life for yourself. So, how are we going to increase your fiber intake? So, we really want to read the nutrition label. So, you're looking for a high fiber item, which is 4 grams of fiber or more per serving. So, when you're reading a label of, say, this is, for 10 chips, you want it to say it has more than 4 grams of fiber per serving for per 10 chips. Berries, like I said, provide the highest source of fiber. Eating lots of fruits and vegetables a day and including the skin really increases the fiber content, and choosing whole grains. When you're reading the label, um, you want to also see that on the label it has the serving size, it also has the grams of fiber, but it also has a percentage beside it. So you want this percentage to be 15% or more of your daily value or higher for the foods that you're having. So if you're looking at bread and it says for one slice of bread, it has 5 grams of fiber and the percentage is 20% or 15% or more, that's a good slice of bread, for you to have. That will have lots of fiber in it. Um, like I mentioned, you want to try to include the skin on your fruits, vegetables. You can include the skin if you're cooking them. Like your potato, if you keep the skin on it, it's better because it has some fiber in that skin. Um, Trying to, start your day right would be having bran or whole grain breakfast cereals, um, adding some bran to yogurt would be a good way to increase your fiber. Trying whole wheat pasta, um, substituting whole wheat flour in your baking. So if you're making like a muffin or cookies, trying to use whole wheat flour instead of white flour will help increase your fiber. Um, Adding beans and lentils to your salad, so adding chickpeas to your salad would be a great option to increase your fiber as well. Another option is lentils to your meatloaf. So if you're making meatloaf, you could add lentils to really increase the fiber of that meatloaf for, a better option. Functional foods. So functional foods are foods that have shown to have a positive effect on your health. Um, they've been proven to promote optimal health, reduce a risk of disease, and are rich in antioxidants, uh, healthy proteins, and carbohydrates. So, you know, pretty much eating all the foods that we had talked about. Um, Eating whole grain, healthy proteins. Um, the whole grain would be the carbohydrates, and lots of fruits and vegetables. Here's a list of functional foods. So cold water fish, which would be salmon, sardines, and trying to include this at least once to twice a week. Nuts such as cashews, almonds, walnuts, pistachios are also great. Um, Oats, that would be great to have. Oatmeal with berries. Legumes would have lots of fiber and potassium and folate. Berries, strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, cranberries, blackberries. All those high color one, whether fresh or frozen, those colors provide a lot of antioxidants that for your body, which will be really beneficial. Your vegetables that are like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, they provide nutrients that help prevent cellular damage in your cells, and you can eat them raw or cooked, fresh or frozen are all great. Orange and red fruits and vegetables. So they have a high carotene amount, carotenoids of vitamin and beta carotene, which help rid the body of carcinogens. So that's why we always talk about eating with color, eating the rainbow as much as possible, and also dark leafy vegetables. So our recommended fruit and vegetables and whole grain intake. So trying to include dark green vegetables. So 1.5 cups per week, which isn't a lot per day. Red and orange vegetables, 5.5 cups per week. So it's really, you eat some carrots one day, you have red bell peppers another day, you have an orange or a tangerine one day. Those are going to be ways to get those red and orange fruit and vegetables. Your legumes are going to be, um, you know, bean soup is an option. 1.5 cup per week is not a lot per day. And your fruits, you want to try to have 2 cups of fruits per day. And like I mentioned before, it could be um, one apple, an orange, um, or two small tangerines, and trying to include whole grain in your diet. Trying to get, um, like I had mentioned, 25 to 35 grams of fiber per day, but it would be 90 grams of whole grain intake, which would be almost 3 to 4 slices of bread if you're eating whole grain bread. So let's putting it all together as kind of what you want your plate to look like. Half of it with fruits and vegetables, a quarter of it with your healthy proteins that we had talked about, and the other quarter of it to be your healthy whole grain options that we had talked about. Trying to, we call it like the plate method, which all the time, whatever you're eating, half your plate to be fruits and vegetables. These were the things that I had talked about. So, some habits that you can change right now, like I mentioned before, is really plan ahead for the week. So you know what you're going to be eating. You've prepped your fruits and vegetables. You've prepped your meals. Adding one fruit or vegetable to each meal or snack. Including more functional foods. Trying a meatless meal. Try a fish-based meal once a week, and just really rethinking your plate and limiting processed foods. So, planning ahead for the week. Um, if you're working, I always say try to plan for you using a weekend, half the day, or, 2 or 3 hours in the day of your weekend to plan for your working week, which makes your life easier because you plan your meals and you plan what you're going to eat for the week. And it really helps keep you on track. I really encourage batch cooking. I make a big chili. I do a vegetarian chili, and then I have that twice a week. And then I do like another meal so I can take that for my lunch, or when I come home from dinner, I'm not thinking, what am I going to make or what am I going to have? um, Adding the fruits and vegetables to every meal and snack, trying to include a salad at either lunch or dinner, trying to have berries or some kind of fruit in the morning are going to be ways to really really help you change those habits. And just kind of making a commitment to yourself with, I'm gonna, grab some raw almonds and pistachios, and I'm gonna put them in bags for myself so that they're easy snacks that I can just grab, and I'm not eating just the bag of walnuts or the bag of almonds. And trying to have a meatless meal, uh, you know, 1 to 2 times a week will be beneficial. So just some talk about sugar. So when I know a lot of my patients talk about sugar and feeding the cancer and how it can feed the cancer. So all the foods that you eat turn into glucose into your body, into your digestive tract, and your cells absorb the nutrients, absorb glucose. That's their source of energy. So everything you eat turns into glucose, most of the carbohydrates that you're eating. But I always talk about added sugar versus naturally occurring sugar. I would never stop eating fruits and vegetables and having milk. These are foods that have naturally occurring sugars in them versus added sugars. Having cookies, having pastries, having cakes, having um, soft drinks, pop, lots of juices, candy, and condiments like ketchup have a lot of sugar in them. And just be mindful of these products. Now, if you have a cookie once a week or once in a blue moon, it's better than having a cookie every day or having cakes and candy every day. These are the added sugars. These are the sugars that we're trying to um, decrease and increase our naturally occurring sugars like fruits and vegetables and milk. Um, an average person has approximately 2,000 calories per day, and 10% of it is about some kind of added sugar. So, which is equivalent to 48 grams of sugar or 12 sugar cubes. So, a medium double from Tim Hortons has 21 grams of sugar, which is like half your intake. So, if you're aiming for 48 grams of sugar, if you've had 21 grams of sugar just in your coffee and you haven't had a muffin or you haven't had anything else from Tim Hortons, you really have to be mindful of how much added sugar you're adding into your diet. Um, a medium French vanilla has 40 grams of sugar in it, and a fruit explosion muffin has 30 grams of sugar. So if you have a double and a fruit explosion muffin, which you're like, oh, I'm having a fruit explosion, it has fruit in it, you have eaten 78 grams of sugar and or sorry, 51 grams of sugar and your goal was 48. So just recognizing that these convenience foods have so much sugar in them, and that's where you're getting these added sugars. So, like I mentioned, sugar as an ingredient does not increase your risk of developing cancer, but what it does in your body can. So, if you have a diet that's high in added sugar, it contributes to your weight gain, which leads to obesity, which increases your chance of cancer. So it's not sugar is feeding the cancer. It's just that you have a high caloric intake, which is increasing your weight, which is can increase your chance of cancer. So, research shows that obesity increases your risk of cancer, but it's the weight gain, not the sugar. So it's the fact that you gain this weight, it's not that the sugar caused the cancer. There are many types of names for sugar. It's usually an ose, so glucose, fructose, sucrose. So just being really mindful, these are names of sugar that the food industry uses, and they're all just added sugar. So cane sugar, evaporated cane juice, dextrose, raw sugar, honey, icing sugar, high fructose corn syrup, cane, evaporated cane juice. These are all ways of saying sugar. So just kind of being mindful, like really reading the label and reading the ingredient list. So if this is in the top 5 ingredient list, you'll be thinking, okay, it may have a lot of sugar in it. Oh, sorry. So I find the most amount of people that get the most amount of added sugar is in their beverage, in their soft drink, and their fruit juice, and their coffee, in their sports or energy drinks. These are ways that people get a lot of sugar. It's the fastest, it's the most easiest way of getting sugar. So really rethinking what you're drinking and trying to just stick to water. Um, and really limiting your pop or diet, your energy drinks. Trying to limit adding sugar in your tea and your coffees, buying those flavored coffee added coffee mates. Those are going to be high in sugar as well. Drinkable yogurts, um, fruit drinks, fruit juices, going to be all high in sugar, added sugar, I should say. Unless it's natural fruit juice, so then that's a little bit different. So a healthy body weight, one of the most important things that you could do is really try to reduce your risk of many different types of cancer is trying to maintain a healthy body weight. Um, you know, when you don't have a healthy body weight, it really increases your chance of these types of cancer. So brain, thyroid, breast, esophageal, liver, stomach, pancreas, gallbladder, kidney, colorectal, ovarian, um, BMI, a body mass index is a tool we use to kind of give us an idea of where you stand with your a healthy body weight. Um, we use your weight in kilograms and we divide it by your height in meters squared. What I'd like to point out with the body mass index is it doesn't give us a good marker if you have a lot of muscle because muscle weighs more than fat. So if you're someone that has a lot of lean muscle, your body mass index may tell us that you're really high on the BMI scale, but you're healthy because you have a lot of muscle mass. Now, um, weight is having a healthy body weight really is a calorie in versus calorie out. So it's how much calories you're eating versus how many calories you're burning. So trying to reduce your how much you're eating by first trying to limit all those high sugary foods and trying to do small activity in your daily life. So moving, doing, you know, 15 minutes of walking would be really beneficial. Sorry. Would be really beneficial to making sure that you're having a healthy body weight. So, having a lot of fat cells can produce substances that may promote the growth of cancer. Um, when you have obesity, it increases you to become insulin resistant. The pancreas will have to produce more insulin, and prolonged high insulin levels promote cancer growth. So, um, we always want you to have a healthy weight. And like I had mentioned, this is the a tool that we use called your body mass index. So you take your weight in kilograms and you divide it by your height in meters square. And the normal, we talk about normal BMI is 18.5 to 25. For older adults, I go up to, that's for people who are 65 and 70 and up. I don't use this scale. I allow them to go up to 29 kilograms per meter squared for their body mass index because as you get older, you need the weight. It's going to help making sure that you're not becoming a tea and toast, someone at home that's just eating tea and toast because then you're not getting enough nutrients in your body. So, some tips to maintaining a healthy body weight, eating well, moving more, drinking more water, and focusing on changing healthy behaviors instead of weight. I like this the most because weight is something that is constantly in everyone's face. So I always try to promote changing healthy eating habits to increase and not focusing on the weight. So, if you usually snack on chips, changing or cookies, changing that to a fruit option, that is, and being consistent on that, that's changing a healthy behavior, and that's going to be beneficial for you in the long term. So I personally don't like to focus too much on weight, but changing your behavior for healthy eating habits, because once you do that, the weight will eventually come off. Excuse me. But not trying to go on these yo-yo diets for you to lose weight, because when your weight goes fluctuates up and down, it's more harmful than beneficial. Just a little talk about alcohol. So alcohol, drinking alcohol raises your risk of developing these types of cancer. So mouth, your esophagus, breast, liver, colorectal, um, any type of alcohol, whether you're having beer, whether you're having liquor, can really increasing your chance of cancer. Um, the Cancer Society came out maybe a few years ago, or a year or two ago, and recommended to not drink any alcohol. Um, that's their recommendation. You do whatever you is best for you. It's sometimes easier said than done. Here are some recommendations. What one drink for women, two drinks for men. What is one drink? It is a very small glass of wine. So it's only 5 ounces, not 6 to 8 when you go out. Your spirits are 1.5 ounces. Your beer and cider is a very small bottle of beer or cider. So, like I mentioned, the new recommendations is not to drink any alcohol. Just being mindful of that. Some just extra things we're going to talk about is antioxidants, some genetically modified food organisms or foods, growth hormones, and special diet. So antioxidants, this I really like, because these are going to be foods that help reduce the free radicals in your body to decrease your chance of cancer. So, including vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, and selenium. And these are found naturally in food. And the best sources are fruits and vegetables. And they help the body protect from free radicals. So, vitamin E, what are the sources? Sunflower seeds, almond, peanut butter, avocados, vitamin A, carrots, sweet potato, pumpkin, turnip greens, vitamin C, selenium. And it just kind of goes through what are these foods that have these antioxidants that are so beneficial to our body. So that's why we always talk about eating in color, because when you eat in color, it includes these foods it includes these antioxidants that are beneficial to your health. Some phytochemicals are natural compounds that are found in plants, which are going to be in apples, carrots, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, garlic, onion, legumes, cabbage, red pepper, sweet potato, tomato. They give the vibrant color, which is what is giving you those phytochemicals. So eating all your fruits and vegetables, all these foods really help decrease decrease your risk of cancer. And we need these nutrients to help protect the body's cells from the free radicals and free radical damage, which is what leads to cancer. Vitamin D. So there is definitely lots of evidence that vitamin D may reduce the risk of some cancers. Where is vitamin D found? In your fatty fish, in your dairy products, in juices and cereals that are fortified. They'll write it at the time, fortified with vitamin D, because vitamin D is produced on our skin exposed to the UV sunlight. We recommend everybody take 1,000 international units of vitamin D per day. If you're above the age of 65, you can always ask your family doctor to order your vitamin D levels. And if they're low, I would be taking more than 1,000 UDs. If you're under the age of 65, you do have to pay for that vitamin D level, and it could range from $35 to $65 depending on the lab that you go to. But in Canada here, really recommend minimum 1,000 international units of vitamin D per day. Their vitamin D is needed for healthy bones and muscles, especially for children and the elderly. You're only able to produce it on your skin, and because we're in the northern hemisphere, we tend to not get as much vitamin D because we don't get so much sunlight in the winter. As like I said, Canadians, we need to take vitamin D supplements during the winter and fall months as we have less access to the sunlight. And having 1,000 international units of vitamin D is just a suggested amount, and it's not going to be as harmful because you're not having a lot. So genetically modified foods. We have 15 genetically modified foods, and 4 are grown in Canada. They're regulated with strict standards, but labeling is not mandatory. So you never know if you're having a genetically modified food. And there's no real evidence to support that these foods cause cancer. So the major ones that we grow here in Canada are canola, soybean, corn, and sugar beets. Um, and the ones that are exported are alfalfa, papaya, and squash. So the genetically modified foods are um, have desirable characteristics that in food that in the plants that are disease resistant. So trying to grow them here in Canada and try to reduce their risk of disease so that they can produce large crops of these foods are going to be uh, what genetically modified food is, and removing the undesirable characteristics like browning apples, or enhance the desired characteristic that occurs naturally but is insufficient. So um, making a fruit hardy to our harsh winters. You buy um, organic foods are not genetically modified and are not permitted in organic farming. You can grow your own fruits and vegetables here in your garden right now, so that will help reduce your genetically modified foods. Um, that's pretty much the only way you're only able to add. Sorry, I should have put this first, but it's foods that are altered by adding genes to plants or altering their genetic profile so that they can get the best um, growth ability for that food. Okay, so growth hormones and antibiotics. Growth hormones naturally occur in all animals, including us, and they've been approved in Canada for beef products only. Antibiotics used in Canada to treat and prevent a disease in animals and fruit crops, and they're followed by a strict standards of safety. I would say that the Canada follows an even a stricter guideline and standards here in Canada versus in the States. Um, Growth hormones are not permitted for cows in the milk production, or poultry or pork. Um, and antibiotics are used in beef, dairy cattle, chickens, laying hens, turkey, pork, fish, and they're sprayed on fruit use, and um, sometimes they're used on honeybees. Um, and like I said, all antibiotics are met by a strict Health Canada standard. So to ensure the safety of the animal and the safety for us. Special diets, organic food is produced without pesticides. They're GMO free, growth hormones are antibiotic free, but there's not enough evidence to say that these foods are healthier. A vegetarian diet usually excludes meat, chicken, and fish, and has lots of fruits and vegetables. It's a personal matter. Not one is better than the other. So if you buy organic food or don't buy organic food, that would be a personal choice. If you want to follow a vegetarian diet or not, that's a personal choice. But I think what's difficult following a vegetarian diet is trying to get good quality of protein into your diet. I'm not sure if any of you have heard the ketogenic diet. So it is 75% fat, 20% protein, and really low carbohydrate. So it's believed that putting your body in ketosis, which is a fat burning mode, then your body is using fat for energy instead of glucose or sugar, that the cancer cells are unable to use the ketones for energy. The current research and studies on this are inconsistent and inconclusive that this does or does not prevent cancer. They're not sure. I usually don't recommend a ketogenic diet unless you have like a need for it. Um, some people may have heard about an alkaline diet, and it really eliminates a lot of food. And what an alkaline diet is supposed to do, it's supposed to change the pH in your body, so and the cells, for the cells with your diet. But there is not you are not able to change the pH of your blood with food. The only way you're able to change the pH and become an alkaline is if you're vomiting all day and then you're losing so many electrolytes, which do not ever follow this diet. It's not a good diet. There's no evidence to show that alkaline diet helps in any kind of cancer. So just some healthy eating tips. Like I had mentioned, trying to increase your whole grains and fiber, starting your day with whole grain cereals like oatmeal, adding fresh or frozen berries to your cereal, um, adding bran or peanuts, a peanut butter to your toast or yogurt. If a recipe calls for a cup of flour, substitute half with whole grain flour. Trying other whole grains into your salads with fresh vegetables. Include the skins with your fruits and vegetables. Um, have snacks that are whole grain, rye, or using 100% whole wheat crackers. Just really trying to increase your fiber intake. For healthy proteins like stews and chilies, um, but and when you're making your stews and chilies, reducing the meat portion and increasing the vegetable portion, or adding legumes into your diet, replacing your pepperoni pizza with roasted chicken and loaded veggies. Um, trying a sandwich with like hummus or cheese and vegetables. Try not to add any of your deli meat, and saving processed meats for special occasions like hot dog or ham or sausages for barbecue and ham for the holidays. Just trying to be really mindful about the foods that you're eating. Some healthy breakfast would a fruit smoothie, trying to really increase your color. Um, if you're having a slice of peanut butter with toast, adding a banana. Um, I've had having an egg frittata with fresh vegetables, trying to include lots of fresh fruit into your diet. Um, add to your cereal, adding milk and bananas or adding milk and blueberries. Just some ideas, some lunch ideas would be to try vegetables and legume-based soups. Um, Going for salads that have dark leafy greens, and adding like colorful vegetables to your salad with a healthy protein, with some nuts and some seeds. Try and stir fries or stews, adding cucumber, tomato, and spinach to your sandwich, um, adding a side of veggies with some dip or hummus on as a snack. Um, just trying to really increase your fruit and vegetable intake um, at every meal if possible. And these are just kind of some ideas. Stir fry is always great because you can add lots of vegetables. Um, you know, Having a side of seasonal roasted veggies topped with feta cheese, including a side salad, like a small plate of salad. Um, Sometimes what I do is if I'm having a canned soup, I add frozen vegetables to it. You know, I might add some beans and lentils to it to just give it more fiber, more opportunity to increase my fiber and my vegetable intake. Just some easy things to do. Buy frozen vegetables, which are cut, peeled, and washed for you, so you don't have to do anything. Fresh frozen is just as good as fresh, so just remembering that because it's an easier option. And here are just some snack ideas, some easy snack foods like trail mix, popcorn, fresh fruit with granola, whole grain, whole wheat pita. Um, yeah, you can read all these snack ideas. And some of the information that I've gathered are from the Canadian Cancer Society, the American Cancer Society, Cancer.net, and the National Cancer Institute. Sorry, can't talk today. Thank you for sitting in for my very long conversation. I see some questions are in here. Okay, somebody said like small little pepperettes. So the small little pepperettes would count as not a good option as a protein. So trying to really reduce those pepperettes, the hot dogs, the sausages, that would count as the same option. Okay, somebody said, when the we know that whole grain is better, why do the bread makers use white flour? It's because it's cheaper. Green powder, which is sold in stores and called superfood, is that good or not? Okay, so it's always best if you eat your vegetables versus drinking them in these green powders. So my recommendation is always to eat the leafy greens versus having them in powder form. Do you recommend protein powder to daily diet? I definitely do recommend protein powder if you're not getting adequate amount of protein. And the protein powder I recommend is called a whey isolate protein, WHEY isolate protein. Um, that is, I'm gonna type it in here so that everybody kind of sees that. That is a better, um, that's what your body knows how to absorb the most. If you're above the age of 65, I would recommend for using protein powder either um, every other day or even once a week to try to really get your protein intake up. How important is organic food versus non-organic food? So, not, it's just more about what you would like to do. So, it's just a personal choice that it is not important. It does not affect the quality of the food. I should say there's no evidence to be shown that it affects the quality of the food. Okay, is the average, this is a good question. Is the average corn sold on road stands in Essex County totally non-GMO processed? I do not know the answer to that, but they are delicious and I buy them all the time off the stand. I I'm pretty sure they are GMO, but I'm not 100% sure, so I don't want to give you the wrong information. Why does my bottle of Vitalox for macronutrient have warning on it not to use if cancer present? I would ask your doctor about that one. Is Greek yogurt much better than regular, both low fat? Okay, for yogurt, I would always recommend a Greek yogurt or a skyr yogurt. I'm gonna write that in here. Um, Greek yogurt or it's SKYR. It's like an Icelandic yogurt. It has um the highest amount of protein than regular yogurt. And I would buy a 2% because sometimes when things are 0% fat, they make it taste better by adding sugars to it. So you got to really be mindful about that. Oh, someone mentioned they work in agriculture. All corn is GMO. It's probably right. How about vegetarian protein powder? Are they better than animal protein powder? So, the evidence shows that if you use a whey isolate powder is better absorbed into your bloodstream for your muscles than a pea protein, which would be a vegetarian option. So unless you're have a milk protein allergy or you're trying to stay away from milk for your own personal reasons, I would always buy a whey isolate protein because that is the better option. That is what your muscles will pick up faster and absorb faster into your system. Any other questions? If anybody wants to unmute themselves and ask me, that would be okay too. I'll do this so you can all see me. Kefir products are good. Could you elaborate on that? What are kefir products? I'm don't know about that one. Ah, avoiding flax. It is very hard to find foods um, that are whole grain without flax. Most of them do have flax because flax is utilized as a really high fiber item, and adding some omega-3 into your body, into the bread, to kind of make it a healthier option. The only thing I would be looking for, if the reason you're not, they've asked you to avoid flax, if you have diverticulitis or diverticulosis, because it can get caught in those in those pockets in your bowel, then you'll want to look for um, flax that's been broken down. So not like whole pieces of flax in the bread, but broken down flax. But yes, it is very difficult to find whole grain food breads without flax. I do. You are correct there. All of them usually have it because it's an easy high fiber item to make the fiber content higher. Oh, is it because it has estrogen? That's okay, that's why you're told. You have to eat a lot of flax for it to have effect on your hormonal level. So if you're having one slice of bread, even if you had one slice of bread, it would not cause such a change in your hormonal level from having one slice of bread. Oh, okay. Kefir. I apologize. Kefir is also a great option for milk, and like for protein and for the fermented products. Yes, kefir is a good product. Yes, fermented products are great for your colon. So you could do kimchi is another fermented product as well. You might hear people drinking kombucha. It's also a fermented product. These items help with the microbiome in your stomach, which are beneficial for the research is coming out. It's beneficial for every part of your body. So, trying to increase your microbiome by having fermented food is a great option. You all know your stuff. It's great. Thank you. Any other questions? I talked a lot. I apologize. Thank you. Thank you for coming and listening to me. And happy Eid if anybody is celebrating Eid today. Yes, definitely. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to come on an evening, and spend the hour and a half with me and listening to me talk. So I really appreciate you all coming. Oh, is fasting good medically? I don't recommend fasting for people who are getting treatment. Uh, it's really harsh on their body when they're getting some kind of treatment. But I think fasting for religious purposes is a little bit different than for your personal, for health or medical basis. Um, for the evidence that's come out is that um, you know, fasting for or eating in a short amount of period of time, so eating in 8 to 12 hours and fasting for the rest of the time has been shown to reduce your calorie intake, which helps reduce your weight. So if you have a weight, if you're thinking about your weight, that's a great option to do. Um, there is not enough evidence to say fasting all the time is a good option if your weight is stable, but I personally do it. It just helps me to eat in a certain amount period of time. And then that way I know, between these hours for me, I like base it between 9 and 6 or 7 p.m. Those are the times that I eat, and after that I don't eat, and kind of allow my body to rest and digest. And there slowly is coming more to show more evidence that it is helpful for some people. So it's kind of up to you if you would like to do that. Any other questions?